Germany and the European Union, a relationship that's as complex as it is crucial. You've heard the buzz, you've seen the headlines, but what's really going on beneath the surface? Is it a love story, a bitter rivalry, or something far more intricate? In this video, we're diving deep into the heart of Europe's most influential partnership. We'll uncover the nature of this so-called love-hate relationship and reveal whether it's a strong bond with hidden tensions or a web of contradictions. Get ready for a roller coaster ride through history, politics, and economics. We'll explore real-world examples that showcase both harmony and discord. From the Euro crisis to the refugee situation, we'll dissect the moments that define this dynamic duo. But why the tension? What's really driving the wedge between Germany and the EU? We'll peel back the layers and expose the root causes that keep diplomats up at night. And it's not just about Germany and Brussels. We'll examine how this relationship sends ripples across the entire continent. Is Germany's influence a force for good or a source of resentment? Looking to the future, we'll gaze into our crystal ball. Will this relationship flourish or fracture in the years to come? We'll also take the pulse of the people. What do Germans really think about the EU? And how do other Europeans view Germany's role? The answers might surprise you. Of course, we can't ignore the money. We'll break down the economic implications of this relationship and how it affects everything from your morning coffee to the car you drive. Finally, we'll pull back the curtain on EU decision-making. Does Germany truly call the shots, or is its influence overstated? So whether you're a policy wonk, a history buff, or just curious about the forces shaping our world, stick around. By the end of this video, you'll have insider knowledge on one of the most important relationships in global politics. Let's get started. To truly understand the complex relationship between Germany and the European Union, we need to step back in time. The story begins in the aftermath of World War II, a conflict that left Europe in ruins and Germany as a divided nation. In 1951, West Germany became one of the 6 founding members of the European Coal and Steel Community, the precursor to the EU. This was more than just an economic arrangement. It was a bold attempt to bind former enemies together and make future wars not merely unthinkable, but materially impossible. For Germany, it was a chance at redemption and reintegration into the European family. Fast forward to 1957, and we see the signing of the Treaty of Rome, establishing the European Economic Community. Germany, still rebuilding itself, played a crucial role in shaping this new European project. The country's economic miracle, or Wirtschaftswunder, became closely intertwined with European integration. A key milestone came in 1990 with German reunification. This historic event not only reshaped Germany, but also significantly impacted the European project. A larger, more powerful Germany emerged, raising both hopes and concerns among its European partners. The introduction of the euro in 1999, with Germany as a driving force, marked another pivotal moment. The new currency symbolized deeper integration, but it also tied Germany's economic fate more closely to that of its EU partners, for better or worse. In recent years, we've seen Germany take center stage during various EU crises, from Chancellor Merkel's handling of the Eurozone debt crisis to Germany's controversial stance during the 2015 refugee crisis. The country has often found itself at the heart of EU decision-making and debate. These historical threads weave together to form the tapestry of today's Germany-EU relationship. It's a history of shared triumphs and challenges, of growing together and sometimes growing apart. Understanding this past is crucial as we delve deeper into the current state of this complex partnership. Building on our historical context, let's dive into the nature of this love-hate relationship between Germany and the EU. It's a partnership that often resembles a complex dance with steps of harmony and moments of tension. On the love side, we see strong cooperation in several key areas. Germany has been a staunch advocate for the single market, which aligns perfectly with its export-driven economy. The country has also been a leading voice in EU climate policy, pushing for ambitious targets and investing heavily in renewable energy. In matters of diplomacy, Germany often acts as a bridge builder, using its influence to forge compromises and move the EU forward. Moreover, Germany has been a consistent supporter of EU enlargement, seeing it as a way to spread stability and prosperity across the continent. The country has also been at the forefront of educational initiatives like the Erasmus program, fostering cultural exchange and a sense of European identity. But where there's love, there's often friction. One major point of contention has been Germany's approach to fiscal policy. Its insistence on austerity measures during the Eurozone crisis sparked resentment in southern European countries who felt the burden of these policies most acutely. This debate over economic governance continues to simmer beneath the surface of EU relations. Another flashpoint has been Germany's energy policy, particularly its reliance on Russian gas and the controversial Nord Stream 2 pipeline. This has put Germany at odds with both EU energy policy and the geopolitical concerns of its eastern neighbors. Immigration is yet another thorny issue. While Germany's open-door policy during the 2015 refugee crisis was initially praised, it also led to tensions with other EU members who felt pressured to follow suit. The ensuing debates about burden sharing and border control have exposed deep divisions within the bloc. We also see friction in defense spending, with Germany often criticized for not meeting NATO's 2% GDP target despite being Europe's largest economy. This has led to accusations of Germany free-riding on the security provided by others. In essence, the Germany-EU relationship is one of deep interdependence, shared values and common goals, but also one of competing national interests and differing visions for Europe's future. Let's bring our discussion to life with some real-world examples that showcase both the harmony and discord in the Germany-EU relationship. Two events in particular stand out: the Euro crisis and the refugee situation. First, let's revisit the Euro crisis, which began in 2009. This financial earthquake tested the foundations of the European project, and Germany found itself at the epicenter of the response. On one hand, we saw Germany's commitment to the European ideal. As the EU's economic powerhouse, Germany contributed the lion's share to bailout funds for struggling economies like Greece, Ireland, and Portugal. This demonstrated a clear willingness to support its European partners in times of need. However, Germany's approach to managing the crisis also sparked significant controversy. Chancellor Angela Merkel's insistence on strict austerity measures as a condition for financial aid was met with resistance and resentment, particularly in southern Europe. Critics argued that these policies deepened recessions and unemployment in already struggling nations. The image of Germany as the EU's stern taskmaster began to take shape, straining relations with several member states. Fast forward to 2015, and we encounter another pivotal moment: the refugee crisis. Here, we initially saw Germany taking a bold pro-EU stance. Chancellor Merkel's famous words, "We are schaffen das," "we can do this," accompanied her decision to open Germany's borders to hundreds of thousands of refugees. This move was initially hailed as a humanitarian triumph and a demonstration of European values in action. But the harmony was short-lived. Germany's unilateral action put immense pressure on other EU countries, many of which were unprepared or unwilling to accept large numbers of refugees. The Dublin Regulation, which stipulates that asylum seekers must be processed in their country of entry, came under severe strain. Countries like Hungary and Poland outright refused to accept EU-mandated refugee quotas, leading to a bitter divide within the bloc. Germany's stance also sparked domestic backlash, with the rise of anti-immigration sentiment and the growing popularity of far-right parties like the AfD. This internal pressure eventually led to a tightening of Germany's initially open policy, creating tension with EU institutions that were pushing for a more coordinated and open approach to the refugee situation. Now that we've seen how the Germany-EU relationship plays out in real-world scenarios, let's dig deeper into the root causes of tension. Understanding these underlying issues is crucial to grasping the full picture of this complex partnership. First on our list is diverging economic philosophies. Germany, shaped by its historical experiences, particularly the hyperinflation of the 1920s, has developed a strong culture of fiscal discipline. This translates into a preference for balanced budgets, low inflation, and structural reforms. However, this order-liberal approach often clashes with the more Keynesian philosophies prevalent in many other EU countries, particularly in southern Europe. These nations tend to favor more flexible fiscal policies and greater emphasis on growth and employment over austerity. This fundamental difference in economic worldviews has been a persistent source of friction, especially during times of crisis. Next, we have sovereignty concerns. As the EU has grown and evolved, the question of how much national sovereignty should be ceded to Brussels has become increasingly contentious. Germany, while generally supportive of European integration, has at times been reluctant to give up control in certain areas. The ruling of the German Constitutional Court challenging the European Central Bank's bond-buying program is a prime example. This pushback against EU authority reflects a broader debate about the balance between national and supranational power, a debate that Germany, as the EU's largest member state, plays a central role in. Lastly, there are differing views on EU integration. While Germany has historically been a champion of closer European Union, its vision for the future of the EU doesn't always align with that of other member states or EU institutions. Germany tends to favor a more intergovernmental approach where national governments retain significant power rather than a fully federal Europe. This stance often puts it at odds with those pushing for deeper integration in areas like fiscal policy, defense, and foreign affairs. Moreover, Germany's size and economic clout mean that its preferred policies often dominate EU decision-making. This can lead to resentment from smaller states who feel their voices are being drowned out, and accusations that the EU is becoming a German Europe rather than a European Germany. Now that we've explored the tensions in the Germany-EU relationship, let's shift our focus to Germany's influence on other EU member states. This influence is far-reaching and multifaceted, touching on economic, political, and cultural spheres. Let's start with the economic impact, which is perhaps the most visible and quantifiable. As the EU's largest economy, Germany wields significant economic clout. Its export-driven model has led to substantial trade surpluses, which have both positive and negative effects on other member states. On one hand, Germany is a crucial market for many EU countries' goods and services. On the other, its persistent trade surpluses have been criticized for creating imbalances within the Eurozone. German economic policies often set the tone for the entire EU. The country's emphasis on fiscal discipline has shaped EU-wide economic governance, particularly in the aftermath of the euro crisis. This has led to the adoption of measures like the Fiscal Compact, which requires member states to maintain strict budgetary discipline. While some view this as necessary for long-term stability, others argue it constrains economic growth, especially in less competitive economies. Moving to the political arena, Germany's sway is equally significant. As the most populous EU member state, Germany has the largest representation in the European Parliament and a strong voice in the European Council. German politicians often hold key positions in EU institutions, further amplifying the country's influence. Germany's political stance on various issues can often make or break EU initiatives. We saw this during the euro crisis, where German support was crucial for bailout packages, and again during the refugee crisis, where Germany's initial open-door policy significantly influenced EU-wide debates on migration. But Germany's influence isn't limited to formal political channels. The country's soft power and cultural influence also play a crucial role in shaping perceptions and policies across the EU. German media outlets, think tanks, and cultural institutions have a wide reach, often setting the tone for EU-wide discussions on various issues. Moreover, Germany's model of social market economy and its dual education system have been admired and emulated by several EU countries. The country's approach to issues like renewable energy and climate policy has also influenced EU-wide initiatives in these areas. It's important to note that Germany's influence, while substantial, isn't absolute or unchallenged. Other large member states like France and Italy also wield significant influence, and coalitions of smaller states can effectively counterbalance German power in many areas. Furthermore, Germany's influence can be a double-edged sword. While it often allows the country to shape EU policies in ways that align with its interests, it also means that Germany is frequently blamed when things go wrong. This can lead to resentment and pushback from other member states. In essence, Germany's economic might, political weight, and cultural soft power make it a pivotal player in the EU. Its influence shapes everything from economic policies to cultural norms across the bloc. Understanding this influence is crucial to grasping the dynamics of EU politics and the challenges of balancing national interests with European unity. As we look to the future of the Germany-EU relationship, we find ourselves at a crossroads. The path ahead is not set in stone, and several potential scenarios could unfold. Let's explore these possibilities and the factors that could shape them. One potential scenario is deeper integration, with Germany at the helm. In this future, Germany might embrace a more federalist vision for Europe, supporting initiatives like a true fiscal union, a European army, or more harmonized social policies. This could lead to a more unified EU, but it might also exacerbate concerns about German dominance. Alternatively, we could see a scenario of differentiated integration where Germany supports a multi-speed Europe. This would allow groups of member states to progress in certain policy areas while others opt out. While this could provide flexibility, it risks creating a fragmented EU with Germany at the core of an inner circle. A third scenario could involve a more intergovernmental approach, with Germany advocating for greater power to be retained by national governments. This might appease sovereignty concerns but could slow down the process of European integration. Of course, we can't rule out more pessimistic scenarios. Increased Euroscepticism in Germany, perhaps fueled by economic downturn or migration pressures, could lead to a cooling of Germany's relationship with the EU. While a Germexit seems unlikely, a less engaged Germany could significantly alter the EU's trajectory. Several factors could influence which of these scenarios or others comes to pass. First and foremost is leadership. The policies of future German governments will play a crucial role in shaping the country's EU stance. Will they champion further integration or take a more cautious approach? Economic factors will also be pivotal. The success or failure of current EU economic policies and Germany's economy will influence German public opinion on the EU and shape the country's future approach to European economic governance. External pressures can't be ignored either. Challenges like climate change, migration, or geopolitical tensions with powers like Russia and China could either drive Germany and the EU closer together or create new friction points. Technological changes and the digital revolution present both opportunities and challenges. Germany's ability to lead in areas like artificial intelligence and green technology could enhance its influence, but also raise concerns about digital sovereignty and economic competitiveness among other member states. Demographic shifts will play a role too. As Germany's population ages, it may need to rely more on EU-wide solutions for issues like labor shortages and pension sustainability. Lastly, public opinion both in Germany and across the EU will be crucial. The degree of support for the European project among German voters and how Germans are perceived by other Europeans will significantly impact the future of this relationship. As we conclude this analysis, it is essential to note that the future of the Germany-EU relationship is not predetermined. It will be shaped by a complex interplay of political choices, economic realities, external pressures, and public sentiment. As we move forward, keeping an eye on these factors will be key to understanding the evolving dynamics of this crucial partnership. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more in-depth explorations of global politics and economics. With that said, thanks for watching.